by Brandy Pet.
Welcome. Happy Thursday, everybody. It's me, Brandy P, with the Yes, I Am the Veteran podcast, and hope everybody's doing well today. I know it's been a very wild year, and I know that it's always kind of gets a bit of a challenge, especially around the summer, so it's very important that we take care of each other and ourselves as well. It is the month of the military child, as well as Sexual Assault Awareness Month, so if anyone needs any information, please reach out. I'd be happy to provide any resources I can. This is my little furry ghost, Dahlia here, also known as Hot Dog. She likes to sit and silently judge. But they always say that it's a small military, and that's quite true. I'd never know when I see my Air Force brothers and sisters again, and it very much happened this week. And before I get to that, though, I really did want to thank some of our brothers or congratulate them on HB 707 going through to the House floor vote in Louisiana. They are friends out in the Veterans Action Council, so congratulations, Tony Landry. And we are absolutely here for you to support in any way that we can. We were very honored to come out for the Veterans Rally last month, so definitely keep your ears open for that, and we'll have more to come. But our guest host for today, I actually knew in the Air Force back in the day. Good old Afghanistan. Those days were wild. But I will go ahead and bring Miss Jenny Barta to the stage. How are you doing, sis?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm here.
I'm here too.
But so for those that don't know you, I know it's been a bit since you've been on our podcast. Did you want to quickly maybe introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Jenny Barta. I was in the Air Force. I got out in 2009. I was in bioenvironmental engineering. I served at Cannon Air Force Base and Luke Air Force Base, and sticking close to my home roots, I work in the aerospace industry now.
There you go. Well, things never change. Speaking of aerospace, we just saw our friends at Boeing, 2 weeks ago for the Rosie the Riveter's Congressional Gold Medal ceremony. So that was definitely an experience getting to meet all those amazing people that definitely support. I have my absolute hats off to Boeing for all they did for the Rosie the Riveters to even get to the gold medal ceremony, as well as the Gary Sinise Foundation. It was really cool to see how, over almost 80 years, they're still continuing to actively support women in aerospace. And
Yes.
I actually didn't know it, but the Rosie the Riveters have raised over $400,000 for women to learn the metalworking trade. And Boeing's been an active supporter. Our very own May Cryer, our 98-year-old Rosie, which is funny we're speaking with a race car driver whose number is 98. And it's just,
That's cool.
She's quite feisty for 98, man. I'm never ashamed to admit I was entirely whooped when I was a manager for her for 1 week in last year by a 98-year-old lady, because man, the greatest generation is definitely built different. But actually Boeing was very kind to May when she had to make she had an order for 5,000 masks during COVID, and she handmade them herself, and they actually helped her mail them. So I definitely thought that was pretty cool. They did that.
Wow.
Yeah. They paid the postage. They had their workers packaging them for her. It was pretty cool to get to see that. And they actually launched her cap and mask in the International Space Station in 2022 to go on Rosie the Rocketeer, which is pretty amazing. And they actually framed it when it came back from the International Space Station with the space coin, and they presented it to her in Washington, D.C., which meant a lot. And I believe the Smithsonian wants it now, which, I mean, why not? It's actually little first three launched into space.
Yeah.
But I remember our days at Cannon, man. Those were some wild days.
Yeah, we had some wild times.
Man,
it's like college, but worse.
It was worse. We got paid far less, and there wasn't enough alcohol. But no, Canyon was an adventure. I remember one time. Were you there when the flight line caught on fire and I surfed the water truck across the flight line?
No.
I think that may be an after EPCS. Good times, yes. I worked in flight medicine. I was an aerospace medical technician, and Jenny worked in bio. So we would go on a lot of, we would go with them on their inspections together, and they would come with us for response. I don't know how many cruise ships did we end up hosing off with hydrazine?
So many. More than that needed to happen.
Then we get mad too. I'm missing my lunch, bro. Like, we need to make sure you live.
Yeah, that's fine.
But let's go ahead and introduce our guest for today. So Jenny had reached out to me, and that's why I love getting to do what I do. Is I love to be able to connect veterans and service members themselves. Our guest today is Mr. Todd Glace. Well, I should say Major Todd Glace. If Mr. That's awkward. Sorry. But at the end of the day, you know, I think it's amazing that you knew him because he was prior enlisted. Is that right?
Yeah, so Todd and I did Airman Leadership School together, and we were in the same like classroom.
Nice.
So that's how we knew each other at Luke.
Yeah, and he told me that you thought you were very thoughtful and you remembered his birthday, and I thought that was really amazing. But I
was always worried about lunch.
That is important in that and how much we have to do for you. But let me go ahead and bring our guest on today. So he is actually racing in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Series. He's been racing 22 years, I believe. And we'll go ahead and bring him out now. Major Todd Glace, how are you doing today?
How are you, ladies? I'm doing great.
Good.
We're here.
It's good to see your face.
It's good to see you too. I really appreciate you having me on the show, Brandy. And so this was a whim. I don't really like Facebook that much, but I did a post out to anybody I'm friends with, just saying, hey, I'm still trying to advance my career in racing. And after 22 years of being active duty, you know, retirement's going to be around the corner at some point. So since I've been a kid, I've just dreamed of being in ARCA series or some good, decent level of auto racing. I don't have any desire to go to NASCAR Cup or anything like that. That's too much pressure, too stressful. I enjoy just the roots feeling of racing. But yeah, so I've been trying to further and advance this journey, and thought, well, I'm here in Colorado, stationed here. There's a really nice track just north of Denver. I have had past experience racing on asphalt. My last racing endeavors was on dirt, but after being here for a while and the season just starting, I thought, you know, it's time to get racing going again and get back on asphalt. So I just made a Facebook post saying, hey, if there's anybody out there that I'm friends with that knows of anybody around the country or even here in Colorado that would be interested in partnering with me or supporting me in any way, you never know. So Jenny was the one key person that saw my post and linked me with you, Brandy, and that's just awesome. That's phenomenal. So I enjoy these kind of relationships and these small, if you could call it, just face-to-face stuff. It's more meaningful, and well, it's nice to have the support too. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. And you were prior enlisted, is that right?
That's correct. Right out of high school, did the early enlistment program in 2002, went through basic, and yeah, Jenny, I think we did ALS in, was it 2007 or I think so.
I think, yes. My daughter was born in 2007, so it would either been late 2007 or early 2008.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking. There was some time around then. But yeah. This is one of the things where, you know, Facebook is a good networking tool. So why not use it? And it is great to stay in touch with so many wonderful people I've met over my career. And Jenny's somebody that I've been blessed to still be friends with and stay in touch with. Not to a great extent, because we all have families and lives. It means a lot that she would still be invested in my life and care enough to reach out to you, Brandy. So thank you both.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, Jenny's not that's all right. It always feels weird because I always called her Barta or Bird. Like some of us were calling her.
That's fine. Either one's still.
But I mean, she was never the type of person to inflate a person or recommend someone that really wasn't, all the way a solid airman or person. She was just that person. You had to like earn that in with her, man. Like she'd be that person that you're like, how would I do? It sucked. Like, she would tell them like it was. So when she'd be shut, I was like, oh man, I got to look into this.
Still true.
Nice.
Tough nut.
We
But
probably
so
have all
did you
kinds of names for each other at ALS. I just don't remember.
block it out? It's all right.
I remember like we were trying to like sneak into like one of the other classrooms to steal their trophy, and as I was leaving, like it hit the door jamb and shattered.
I remember now that you just recalled that. That's too funny. I honestly forgot all about that. That's what you were most famous for. It wasn't the cupcakes on my birthday. It was the trying to steal the other classroom's trophy. That's awesome.
And broke it.
She got that
And I
cannon.
think you had to like go to leadership and be like, "Hey, this happened."
Yeah, that probably sounds about right. Wow.
She learned that a cannon. I can tell you that now because that was a total thing. We stole. I think what the med group stole like the AMXS like trophy, and then it became the trophy man, and then it became like the travel. And I was the trophy man under the Christmas party, but like they literally didn't give it teeth and stuff. It was like wild, all this stuff.
We stole. It was civil engineering. We stole. They had a bull skull or cow skull, and like it went to the dental squadron and got like a cat. And yes,
I've
always been involved in shenanigans.
The wellness exams, like took pictures of it too.
I remember this.
That's funny. So Janelle, let you ask a question. I know that I've kind of been talking my head off, but
sure.
What question do you have for Todd?
I'll ask because I do remember you mentioning it when we were in Airman Leadership School. So what got you into racing?
Oh, well, that's actually a very easy question. Mother and father, but definitely dad, because growing up, when we had cable and stuff in the late 80s, early 90s, the race was always on every Sunday, and watched faithfully, well, when I was a little older and cared more, but watched every race with my dad. Huge Bill Elliott fan. People don't believe me, but I can remember back to, I think the first race I actually remember watching that I can recall in my mind was from 1990. I was 5, and it was a big deal because Bill won, and he was driving a new paint scheme that year in the 9 Coors car, and my dad had bought me a model kit of that car, and we always said we were going to put the model together. So it was cool to see that car, to see Bill winning that car on the track. That's the memory I can go back as far and actually recall. But that's what got me hooked. Growing up, I was pursuing a pilot's license. I earned that in high school, worked my butt off, had multiple jobs flying to pay for flying. And we also had a local go-kart track. And when I say go-kart track, I don't mean the one that you anybody can go to and pay and race. These are legit go-karts. And that's what actually got me in my first racing environment. I was able to get my pilot's license. Once I realized I would like to pursue racing even more, it was too late because I already promised Uncle Sam I'm joining the military. So off I go to basic and follow on tech training for aircraft maintenance. I was an F-16 crew chief. But at my first location, Luke Air Force Base in Arizona, it's a very good environment to be in for racing. I didn't know that I was going to pursue dirt, but being there, it was kind of hard not to because there was multiple tracks. Manzanita Canyon, tons of tracks out there. So got my feet wet, got some good experience. Now, granted, I don't need to tell either of you, you already know, our plans don't always align with the military's plans. So it's not like every place I've been stationed, I've got to race. There's been a few where it wasn't possible, but definitely tried to stay with it as much as I could. I would say what really got me exposed to the best racing. It was when I was stationed in Minot, North Dakota. That was a great place to be. I ran into two brothers by happenstance that were localers, and they just took me in like I was one of them. They actually treated me like family. We're still close. In fact, the one gentleman, the one brother, his name's Brock. I called him yesterday and told him about what's going on in my racing endeavors. And as of now, if he can swing it, he's going to be coming to my first race here, May 11th, to be my spotter and coach. He's got a tremendous amount of racing experience, and that'd be great to have him here. But while I was there, it was just a great opportunity because in that area there's a lot of tracks there as well. So definitely got to learn some different racing environments, and dirt definitely refines your driving. As soon as you think you're good on asphalt, dirt tells you that maybe you're not. So now it's time to go back to asphalt again. Anxious to do that again. But never been in a Grand American Modified on asphalt before. Tomorrow is actually my first test session. Very anxious. There's a chance of thunderstorms rolling in. I hope I definitely don't want to be in my first race, May 11th, without any seat time and a new car, a new track. So hopefully tomorrow is productive and successful.
Yeah, absolutely. Good luck to you. I know asphalt is definitely the great equalizer when it comes to driving. So definitely can be a challenge, especially when it gets wet and wild. What is a common misconception that people would have about race car drivers, would you say?
A misconception that people have about race car drivers. That's tough. I don't know. I'm kind of an oddball in that one because most people that I know that are into racing also talk other sports, football and baseball. It doesn't resonate with me. I never got into anything else growing up. I was all about race cars and airplanes, and plus I learned at a real young age, pretty early on, pretty quick, that I wasn't born to play football, and I tried. I probably did it for the wrong reasons, though. I was just trying to impress girls, and it didn't work out so well. So back to things I really wanted to do and enjoyed, which was getting my pilot's license and racing.
I thought for sure you were going to say something.
I know that really didn't answer your question. I'm sorry, but
well, you're fine. I was just thinking more of like the Ricky Bobby aspect of the if you eat first and last kind of thing. Like I had to bring it up once, like I had to.
If you're not first, you're last.
Well, actually, Talladega Nights is probably the most accurate depiction of auto racing ever made for a movie. I mean, it's so realistic.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, everybody knows that, right?
That's a good.
It's a great movie to watch when you want to see some extreme sarcasm and crazy scenarios and race. Definitely go in the real world.
It's a great movie.
It's hilarious.
It's a good escape from reality.
Hey, we need those sometimes.
We could talk Days of Thunder. I was actually talking to somebody about that the other day. Good movie.
How's that one? But, I like that movie. It's one of my favorites.
It's a great movie, and I'm not saying it's not, but for people who are definitely into racing and cars, there's a lot of scenes in there where you're questioning that. Yeah, right. So especially Trickle's magical fifth gear in the car when he's already doing 180 miles, and suddenly just has gear to shift into and is now that much faster than everybody else. Yeah, great scene.
If they can have endless bullets in movies, they can have endless gears in racing movies.
Right.
That's true. That's right. That's right.
Reasons I cannot watch Grey's Anatomy. I get that. And you're like, that's not right. Yes. That's not accurate. No, give it that out. That doctor would have been fired.
For sure.
All right, Jenny, so did you have another question?
Is this your biggest race coming up that you're preparing for? Or have you done bigger races, maybe on a different type of circuit?
I'm going to, well, that's tough. Some of the dirt tracks I did were pretty big events and pretty big deals, at least to me. There was some special events I raced in where you've got people coming from all over the area, out of state, and when you have that many cars trying to get an entry spot into the race, not everybody's guaranteed to make the race. There's going to be some people who go home. So it made me feel pretty good when I did do those few races that I qualified on time, made the field, and actually performed and finished very well in 3 of those main events. That was a big deal to me. But this level of asphalt racing in a Grand American Modified, no, I would say this is probably actually going to be my biggest endeavor in racing by far, for sure.
Nice. And can you tell us a little bit about the NASCAR Whelen Modified Series? I know because there's not a lot of active duty service members that do race. I mean, it's quite rare to see someone do that. I know I did all the physicals for anyone doing any sort of special duty or like NFL or American Idol, anything like that's at like that high level. It's not very well. I've never heard of it for NASCAR, like, and that's rare for me. So, I mean, could you tell us a little bit more about the series?
Sure. Well, first of all, I did do my safety form, so I won't get in trouble.
Okay, all right. I was gonna feel bad.
Yeah, I'm glad you got that covered.
Yeah, it might not be signed yet, but the conversation has happened. So anyway, I think when most people think NASCAR, they definitely think the Cup Series or maybe the Xfinity Series or the Craftsman Truck Series. But NASCAR has divisions all over the country at much smaller levels. There's different divisions and levels of cars, modifieds, late models, and some of the tours are even broken up, East Coast versus West Coast. But there's also the ARCA series that I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, and that's the series I would very much like to get into eventually, hopefully someday, when I retire. I mean, there's even a chance I could have a test session in an ARCA car next year if I can line things up just right. That is a possibility. So that'd be a pretty big deal and feat for me. So I'm trying to be very humble about all this. I have big expectations for myself, but also some modesty as well. I don't expect to go out there and tear the world on fire, but my buddies back in North Dakota that I raced with, we had a motto: when every race, you just can't suck. We would tell each other, don't suck.
Don't crash.
That's a good one.
Expensive.
Yeah. So luckily, I never sucked. So I obeyed rule number 1: don't suck. And
sometimes that's allowed, but not in your case. That makes sense.
And as you both could relate to, with our crazy military schedules, the last thing you want to do is be working on a car on all your off time, especially when you have crazy hours. So I was always a very sensible driver and very rarely had to do extensive maintenance or work on the car. Always kept it in one piece. Very clean racer. That's something I don't want to be other than. I don't need enemies on the track. I'm out there for me and me alone. If anything, make friends. In fact, that's the best thing of all with all the racing I've ever done is the community and friends you make along the way and people you race with. Because at the end of the day, if you got an issue, it's amazing. You're working on your car. You're trying to make the feature race. Maybe something failed or broke on the car. And next thing you know, here's 4 or 5 other of your competitors running up to you and saying, "What can we do to help you?" And
that's awesome.
That's the kind of community that I've been in.
I think a lot of people think that too, like that there's no sense of community in what you do, but I mean, it's very much the opposite. It's really helping each other out because you could be that person the next time. And, just having that good partnership in this relationship with the people you race against, it really just shows the respect that you guys have for each other, which is really nice to see.
Absolutely. Sure. And nobody wants to have cars broke and beat up. They're expensive. It takes a lot to fund every race. So that's the last thing people want to do. Unless you're battling for the lead and sometimes we lose our heads a little bit when we're up front battling
I feel
place.
like
That's true.
Sometimes other things go out the window, but that's racing too. So,
interesting. So we're going to go ahead and show a little clip. I know that you had sent me a few, and when we have you back on, we'll definitely show more at length. But I know we're kind of going to keep it short today. But I'll go ahead and show that now. So about what you are about to do here. Let me see.
Jordan Smith, Ed Vecchiarelli bring the field to the green. Your early lead looks like it's going to be Vecchiarelli out to the lead on the back straightaway. Smith trying to hold off Clark and Smith. Jordan Smith, Jacob Smith, Jingleheimer Smith. All on here. Claimant after a night like tonight, he's trying to work his way forward to the inside of the 17 of Holly Clark, who races quite often on Spears Racing TV in the Spears Manufacturing Modified Series. Scotty Scott to the inside of Clegg. Battle is for fourth. And they're closing in on the 89 of Jacob Smith. Good single file up front, but great battle for third now. Kyle Clegg and Smith duking it out. Clegg will go to third. You get one big battle for fifth now because they're directly behind the 6 of Scotty Scott. Oh, make it a 3-wide battle for fifth. Ollie into the rear bumper of Scott.
Oh, got him.
Second and third have closed in on Vecchiarelli, but we got a yellow, and we look to possibly have fluid down. Everybody's spinning into the corner. Turn number 3.
In addition to legends, we'll have pure stocks, super stocks, figure eights, bandoleros, which the drivers are as young as 8 years old.
Okay. So wow, that's like, I mean, that's a pretty serious business. That's not like racing like a box car at your neighbor's house. Like that's pretty legit racing there.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
the highlight, well, the little fender bender at the end there, it's also the importance of having a good spotter, watching out for you, talking in your ear, helping you know about those things. In that case, there was actually fluid down on the track, and when you're still full speed and you don't know there's fluid down, those tires are very sensitive. They don't like any kind of a wet surface. You're going to go for a ride.
Oh wow, yeah, because there's really no grip on like racing tires, right? They're almost not bald, but they don't have that type of same like traction that a normal tire would have. Is that right?
Absolutely not. Correct. In fact, sometimes you'll even put your tire pressures down pretty low at the beginning of the race, because as the heat builds up, the pressure will start to come up as well. So the wider the tire, the more grip. So if you can run the air pressures as low as possible and get max grip, that's what you're after.
Interesting. It's like the opposite of driving normal. It's like if your tire pressures are too low, you get a flat. Like so, it's like the opposite. That's really interesting. What's the average speed that you guys race at? Like I'm sure it alternates, but like what are you kind of like? Is that like 120 miles an hour or something like that?
That's actually a good question, because I don't know what the top speed is at this track quite yet. Now, granted, the series I'm going to be in, the Grand American Modified and the super late models, those two are the fastest classes or divisions there. The track also runs late models, pro stock, super stock, legends, bandoleros. They have quite the array of different racing divisions.
And so anyone that's interested, go to https://www.coloradospeedway.com, and you can definitely check out more information there. And I'm going to show a couple pictures, and maybe you could tell me about them. I just grabbed a few. I know don't try to keep time down. Let's see. So this one. So this is not your car you're racing in now, is that right? That's like an older vehicle that you've had?
Correct. That was my last full-time ride that I did when I was in Minot, North Dakota. Had a lot of fun, a lot of different dirt tracks to run there. The one we ran at consistently every Sunday was Nodak Speedway. They got a great program there, very nice track, and yeah, had a great time racing there, and had some great partners and sponsorships there, and it worked out great.
Nice. And who's this little one?
That's my
Aw.
oldest daughter, Isabella. She doesn't know I sent you this picture, but
Okay.
yeah, she's actually 18 now, but definitely not.
She's so cute.
But she was definitely into this and definitely supportive of Dad doing all that. So that was great.
And that's important. You know, your kids supporting, I
neat.
mean, it gives you that extra energy that you didn't realize that you needed sometimes, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you can also put them to work too.
Also good.
That's true.
Get some
Yeah, my daughter knows far too much about things after Miss Feathered Hair. I get that fully. Mom, you're not posing right. I'm like, oh.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, look at you rocking the Air Force blue.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I was very happy and proud to do it. That was
Yeah.
a big deal to me. So it was meaningful, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's so
and it is
cool.
meaningful. I mean, you get to represent your branch, I mean, the military in general, and you get to do something you truly love. I mean, that's kind of like the trifecta of what we try to aim for, either in service or post service. So I think that that's great that you get to do that while you're in. I know my dream was to be a PA, and it unfortunately did not occur as I would have liked, but I'm still happy I can help people in my own way. So I think that that's great that you're able to do this. This is amazing. I figured you'd have like a flight suit or something, like a blue flight suit or something cool. I don't know. That's pretty awesome, though. I love it.
It is.
I think I've got one more. I don't know. I'm looking at it really far away. I'm not sure.
Oh, who's that?
Is that you?
No.
I was like, nope, that's another podcaster. Sorry. That happened. Dang it, Tracy, you got me again. No. But I think that that's really amazing that you get to do that. And you've had such an amazing career, 22 years doing it, you know, and you're able to do that. So, Jenny, did you have another question? I know we do need to wrap up here soon.
Sure. So I think, you know, me seeing your Facebook page, and I've always been the one that knows somebody. So a connection maker. And when I saw your post, I immediately thought Brandy would be the right person to tie in with, because she's so tied in with the veteran community and veteran business owners. So I figured making the connection was a start, but how can we help?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, back to what I was saying earlier, I'm glad, like I said, sometimes you just need that one person to see your post. So Jenny, thank you for caring enough. Thank you for seeing it. Sometimes Facebook algorithms have more to do with it than that. But and Brandy, I've only known you a few short days now, but from the conversations we've had on the phone and the rapport I've had, I just wanted to say how awesome and stellar I think it is of you to take your time to even do this, and not for me, just for all the incredible work and everything that you've done to support the veteran community. People like you that's your time, but it's your passion, and people like you is what makes a big difference in other people's lives. So I can see that already, just in some of the stories you've shared with me about other things you've done. As far as I go, I mean, every time you move and start racing again, you got to start somewhere. So you talk to local businesses, companies, and see if there's anybody that wants to support you. Colorado Springs is where I'm at. It's kind of a tough area, and the track is 2 hours north of here and just above Denver. So, you know, there is some challenges to finding people that want to partner with you, knowing that the track is that far north. My argument is there's a lot of people that get sick of the hustle bustle from up north and still come down to the Springs area anyway. So it's not to say that nobody here would be interested in supporting me or helping me, but in the back of my mind, I think, well, it's not just local businesses and companies. Some people are just starting out with different projects that affect people all over the country. Websites, something so simple as ordering appliances or tools or heck a barbecue sauce. I don't know, you name it. Everything's so online now, so it doesn't matter where you're located.
Right.
But my thing is, I've always been fortunate to have good partnerships with people. When I was in Minot, North Dakota, two specifically that I did that I got sponsorship from. It ended up being a great relationship. They just started their businesses, and through some of the advertising I did, logo on my car, hero cards, shirts, you name it, really helped put those places on the map, and it was a win-win. And they believed in me, supported me, helped me fund the car for the race, and makes a big difference. So that's, I mean, at the end of the day, it takes a lot of money to do this. You know, I've saved. A lot of it's all my funds right now are going into this, but
Wow.
it'd be great to think that not only could I get some sponsorship again, but I was telling you this the other day, Brandy, that more important than that, it's actually the relationships and partnerships that are that are more meaningful, especially if I really do end up advancing to the ARCA series someday. You know, I'd like to think I get some people that stand behind me and stick with me throughout the whole deal, and that'd be pretty amazing if that happened.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, for us, I mean, that's what it is supposed to be about, with, you know, veterans helping veterans or service members helping service members. Like, that doesn't end when our enlistment, you know, expires or we're retired. It's something that it very much should continue. And unfortunately, not everyone does that, but that's absolutely something that I like to continue, because I mean, have had a triple limb salvage, but at the end of the day, you know, I'm thankful that I can still help veterans in my own way. Even though I try to behave, I seem to not be very good at it. But, you know, just my adventures, I've met some amazing people on my journey, and, you know, as well as you have, and just connecting people. So if anyone is wanting to sponsor, they have a connection to a business, please reach out to our podcast, Yes, I Am the Veteran. We're on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, pretty much every major platform. You know, Todd Glace specifically, you can reach out to him. But absolutely, you know, we want to hear from you. So even, you know, if it's just a little bit you can sponsor, it doesn't matter. You know, definitely just reach out. You never know unless you ask or you let someone know. And for me, I'm always amazed that the viewers that we have, you know, you never know who's watching. I mean, I've had billionaires watch my podcast randomly. I've had, you know, that some of the heads of GM Financial, like, you never really know where it'll end up. So, I mean, we absolutely wish you the best in what you're doing, and we'll most certainly want to follow up with you and probably pop in on a race or two. And to be quite honest, with Colorado, traffic is terrible anyway. So, I mean, go, especially like in the Colorado Springs, Denver area, like someone that's driven there, it is maddening in the morning. So at the end of the day, you know, it's a selling point, you know, you get out of traffic, you know. But very much, we wish you luck in what you are doing, and we're going to go ahead and ask the final question. So what would you say to someone that may be interested in racing, like maybe you were once when you first started out?
Well,
what advice would you have?
Depending on where you live, hopefully there's a track nearby of some type or some kind. That's that's the thing that makes it challenging sometimes at first. But I mean, even if there's a track, you know, within a few hours, it's worth going to if you can do it and splurge the pit pass, go down and actually start talking to people, meet other drivers, teams, ask them for advice. That's actually a great starting point. Sometimes it's actually better to talk to the people who are in charge of the track, because sometimes they'll tell you the people to stay away from too. I hate to say it,
Oh,
but just like in any other venture in life, there's always people to stay away from too. So, and you won't know it until you know, and maybe it's too late. So, but most people in the racing community are great, and they're more than happy to help because they know that they were in your shoes one day also, and
That's awesome.
not everybody has big bucks and money and just gets to do whatever they want. So that would be my biggest piece of advice, for sure. I'm just
yeah.
excited to be on this and have your time, and it means a lot. And it's really cool earlier when you said about you never know who's watching. So back to advertising and sponsorship, it's kind of cool because when I did race in Minot, I had tons of shirts made. People could actually go to a website and order my shirts, hats, you name it. And you both know this very well. That was all the people I was stationed with there. Well, next thing you know, they're moving. They're in other states now. They still wear my shirts out in public. People see my shirt all over the country. So it just makes you wonder if I had some brand attached to me, they're going to see that anywhere you go because we're all over the place.
Yep.
Definitely.
Yep.
I'm
For
just
sure.
excited to see where I go with this and where it takes me, and if I'm able to get somebody or more than one person to want to help me out. I would be excited to see what I can do for them too. That's what makes it a
Yep,
real
it's partnership. Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, thank
And
you
so-
both.
Yeah, absolutely. It was our pleasure to have you on, and we'll definitely be following up and harassing you at some future events. Definitely,
Yeah.
it shows support. That's all it's about, right? Giving each other a hard time and just being there for each other. The aspects
For
of
sure.
just you're officer now, but I mean, it's something so. But so we'll go ahead and close it up with final thoughts. So, Jenny, do you have any final thoughts for anybody watching today?
Go sponsor Todd. And it was great to see some familiar faces. And Todd, we go to Colorado pretty often, so I might need to sneak out and see one of your races.
Yes, let's
I
coordinate
did
that
not
one.
know you frequented here. If you do, yes, absolutely. Please let me know.
Yeah.
It's great
Yeah.
to just
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Todd, do you have any final thoughts for today?
I don't. I just appreciate the time and you both investing your time to do this. And Jenny, great seeing you. This was a surprise that you were on. And
I know
Brandy
Brandy kind of added me.
well, Brandy
I do
mentioned
what I want.
it was really going to happen, and I'm glad it did. That this was fun. I'm glad you're here. That this was cool.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you reminded me about the rest of the ALS stories as well. That was
Yeah.
great.
I've got a couple.
Next time.
Yeah.
I want to
Dude.
hear the rest of these now because I think I'm I want to hear them now. So
I am not a good thief. That's what I learned.
She is quite honest as fair integrity. And so
I will
everyone that's
break the
listening,
product.
yes. So for the Marines or other service members or people just watching the Air Force, ALS is Airman Leadership School. So that's basically the school you have to go to before you become an NCO, an E5, and you start taking more of like a command or supervisory role. And so they teach you how to be an NCO, and you have to do this whole 6-week to 8-week course. And they drill all kinds of stuff in you that you will absolutely not use, along with some things that you do use, of course. But at the end of the day, it's a lot of drill and PT, if I recall. But absolutely, guys, please support if you're able to. There's a lot of other podcasts out there that I'll reach out to as well, so we can get you on some other podcasts too. But just support our brother, man. And it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to suffer in silence. Just for anyone that's out there that may be going through a hard time, if you guys need something, if you need resources, reach out to me. That's what I do. If I don't know, I'll be honest, like I'll connect you with someone who does, and I'm very thankful with my adventures that I've met some amazing people along the way. And definitely, guys, we'll have Todd back on soon and follow up with him as well. And next week we have Sergeant Vegan from Final Fantasy coming on. So tune in, and we will have Aurelia take us away. And have a good night, guys. So we'll go ahead and end it now. And all right, Aurelia, take us away.
Hi. Hi, I'm Aurelia. Just a reminder, smash like, hit subscribe, and click the bell. Please give me my mommy some hearts. Yay, victory!
Yeah.